and watched some of the webinars that you had available on the site and thought, wow, you really have some great opportunity there. And if those on the call today haven't had a chance to watch some of the webinars that he has available, some great content on there, some of which I'll cover with you today. I'm sure you'll see some reiteration of some of the same things, maybe a different flavor of perspective. And so I'll jump right on in here. Adam Kennard again with Ecova, talent acquisition partner, otherwise a recruiter, partnering with our managers here in the energy space, helping fill positions across the board. Been here since July of 2011, so time is flying, and we've been very active in our business if you've been following us. We're going to go ahead and move forward here with an agenda and give you some perspective of the things that we're going to cover today. First thing is I want to give you a little mind of who Ecova is and where we came from. Ecova is a brand new name, and many of you may not have heard of us in the past. You may have known us as many other names. So I'll try to clarify or clear up some of the thoughts and followings that you've had. We'll also dig deeper into highlighting current and potential job opportunities with Ecova, helpful tips for job seekers, and essentially what managers are saying, what they're looking for. Envision our attendees today that, I know we had about 150 signed up for the call today. So, with a count like that, would envision we've got all walks of experience and backgrounds, and just really appreciate that you've taken the time out of your day today to hear some of the things that we have to share. It's exciting for us to have this opportunity. So if we jump in, looking at the beginning, Washington Water Power in 1889. We started as Washington Water Power, later rebranded as Avista. You may have heard of Avista before. Has been in the Spokane area since late 1800s. So 1889, in the beginning, Washington Water Power was the first major producer of electricity. Today, it's the inland northwest major producer of power. In 89, 10 men used the Spokane River to build 6 hydroelectric power plants and generate electricity for really much of the area. The company continued in significant growth ever since. Again, 1998 is when it rebranded to Avista, so that's probably the name that you may be more familiar with. The spinoff. So over the years, Washington Water Power, like many utilities, began experimenting with startup companies, and in 1995 spun off a company by the name Washington Water Power Energy Solutions. 17 employees at the utility had a great idea to help support Fortune 1000 multi-unit facilities and retailers better manage their use of resources. Washington Water Power Energy Solutions, a subsidiary of Washington Water Power, was born at that time. The startup company was focused on building a world-class, patented solution that converted energy bill data into actionable intelligence about each facility within the customer's corporations. For the first time, customers could see and understand their overall energy consumption across the entire corporation. What's more, the solution enabled customers to do this securely over the web, which, looking back at '96, to do anything over the web was pretty revolutionary. And this is where our story really began in '95. Like our parent company, we also have a history of change and growth within the energy space. 18 years of change and growth, to be exact, and just shy of 20 years, we've operated under 4 different names. So to put some perspective to that, 95, as mentioned, the spinoff of Washington Water Power Energy Solutions. A few years later, as it was getting on the ground and Avista was being born or rebranded into Avista, Avista Advantage was the change of name, and then eventually on to Advantage IQ, really helping better represent what we do in IQ intelligence, data intelligence business. And so the rebranding was to better represent what we do. And then in 2011, just not too long ago, Ecova was born, and we'll talk more about what that meant. So as an overview or continuation, not only have we changed our name throughout history in effort to keep up with the types of services we offered, we have been very active in the market of acquisition. Ecova has acquired 7 companies along the way. The first acquisition to take place was in 2005. Telesys, a company based out of Westminster, Colorado, joined the group. Telesys enhanced the telecom service offering, advanced auditing, deeper analysis, and long-distance services in wireless management. Later in 2008, Cadence Network joined the family, based out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Cadence united the most comprehensive facility invoice processing and reporting systems, allowing for expanded regulated rate and carbon management and lease auditing. In 2009, Ecos Consulting, based out of Portland, Oregon, the office that I'm sitting in today, joined the team and really brought an entirely different focus to this group, working directly with utilities to develop, promote, and manage the utility smart saver or otherwise energy efficiency programs that they offered for residential housing, commercial industrial businesses, and retail channels. In 2010, Loyalton Group joined the family and really helped Ecova grow our electric usage database significantly on the commercial and industrial side. 2011 was an active year. We actually had 2 acquisitions take place in 2011. You'll see that the first one being Building Knowledge Networks, based out of Seattle, Washington, helping grow our ability to provide customers real-time connectivity to the building systems that they're managing. And then shortly after, again, Prenova was acquired in that same year, which is based out of Atlanta, Georgia, helping extend our reach into education and government sectors. Prenova also helped us gain more traction with our engineering capabilities with building control and metering. And then really lastly, or otherwise the more recent acquisition was LPB Energy. Just so happened to fall into the year of 2012, but it was right at the beginning that LPB joined the family of Ecova, and it was based out of Dallas. It was the most recent to the family, helping build upon our energy expense management expertise and client base. So I highlight these things just to give you a mind of who is Ecova. Well, Ecova is really a lot of things, and we tap onto so many different areas of what we call a green job space. You know, it can be defined as, I think if you've watched the webinars on Leonard's page, green jobs means so many different things to so many different people. So a lot of what I'm going to cover today, as much as Ecova represents many things, it may and likely will not be everything that's out there. So I'll try to really kind of keep it in perspective. So as an Ecova overview, needless to say, you know, we've been busy. We now operate corporate offices in 20 cities or more across the U.S. since our company started back in the Washington Water Power Energy Solution days. You know, we've grown from 17 employees that started the business, which is now representing close to 1,300 or more. I think the last count I saw was 1,315, so I know we're growing still. And the company, to give you some perspective, when I joined Ecova in July of 2011, we were at 800 employees. So it's been quite the active ride and very progressive environment here. And really just a strong entrepreneurial type spirit, which I think a lot of companies that are really in this space are seeing opportunity that's never really existed before or that is really blossoming. So as we advance further into my slide deck here, we'll take a deeper delve into what kinds of positions and where you might find those opportunities. You know, I come from a mindset of you don't know what you don't know, and sometimes it's really hard to identify positions when you don't know what opportunities even exist out there. And what you see is not always what you get. There's many positions that tie to jobs that you may see something on a website, but there's going to be a lot of things surrounding that that you're not seeing. So I like to tell a story and just give you a little bit more mind of the space that we're operating in, and I think it really resembles much of what's also happening out there in other marketplaces or other businesses that are dancing around this same mindset of saving and being more resource efficient and mindful of our resource use. I show this slide here. Both sides of the meter is what you'll hear us called, or total energy and sustainability management solutions. And really what that's suggesting from an Ecova standpoint is that we're a one-stop shop. You know, we operate on both sides of the meter. So if you look at the left side of my slide here, we have a number of different utilities that we partner with closely and help them operate programs, over 50 utilities to be exact. And so on the utility side of the meter, again, I mentioned before, we help with smart saver and energy efficiency rebate programs. And I'm, you know, if you're not familiar, utilities across the country are really balancing customers' growing energy needs with energy efficiency and demand response programs in effort to reduce energy consumption and the demand. You know, Ecova assists utilities in creating residential and commercial and industrial programs, further promoting the programs and getting people to use them. Our efforts drive increased customer satisfaction with providing verifiable savings to the clients, really. And you know, if I were capturing the 3 different types of services, I'll do this quickly, but this should give you some mind of where you might fit yourself given wherever you're coming from in your background. On the residential side, the mind is that we help utilities get in the ears of their clients in multifamily and single-family households or thresholds. And utilities essentially don't want to have to keep building more energy storage units to supply the demand as our demand increases. And it's very costly to do it. It doesn't make a lot of sense to do it. And you know, why continue to create more and store more when it's just simply to supply our behaviors, and how can we rethink it? So utilities promote these energy efficiency programs to get people to better use their resources. So shower heads, faucet aerators, light bulbs are really the promotion of the programs. And what we do is we call and get people signed up to have us come out and install free shower heads, free faucet aerators, and free light bulbs. So we have direct install teams that go out and do that work. We also will do home energy audits while we're out on location and help them better identify, them being building owner or apartment complex owner, homeowner, help them better identify with the types of opportunities they have in their home to change, whether it be their windows, their air ducts, and things of that nature. And if they elect to want to advance in that space and have someone come and redo all their windows in their house, then we have a contractor network that we partner with closely. So if you have a background with contractors, there's a great opportunity to be able to sell this opportunity and bridge that gap or facilitate that relationship. Basically, if we don't catch you at your house and you go to the store because your light bulb went out, we offer retail programs. So we partner very closely, jumping in and out of stores all day with retailers, helping educate them on the efficiency programs that are being promoted, making sure they understand what's offered, and looking into rebates and ensuring they understand how those process for their customers. We do free light bulb giveaways and generate attention within the retail space when customers are coming and going from the stores. And then thirdly, we do commercial industrial programs, which we send our folks out, technical experts in lighting and HVAC and boilers and things of that nature, to help contractors that are putting their bids on commercial industrial business better understand what opportunities they have to put in their bid. And it really heighten the opportunity that they could gain new work. When they gain the work, products are purchased, rebates are actualized, the customer gets better product, better lifespan, more efficient resources, and the contractor continues to gain the work. So that's what the utility programs are generally providing. There's much more to it, but that gives you a good mind of what that side of the fence might look like. The other side is the commercial industrial sector, and And really, we contract with commercial and industrial employers, whether they be multi-unit facilities, retailers, as seen in the circle. So if you look at some of the names, you'll see 24 Hour Fitness, GameStop, In-N-Out, Pier 1 Imports. So large multi-unit retailers that we're partnering with, helping these types of clients better manage their use of resources such as energy, carbon, waste, water, telecom, lease, all shown on the bottom of the screen. And so if you specialize, you have areas of expertise in any of these areas, or you have motivations in these types of areas, these positions exist out there and they exist with us. While a business or enterprise knows how much money is being spent on energy, waste, water, and such across their business, they're often unable to hone in on specific usage trends that drive those costs. So Ecova partners with these types of clients by researching and identifying trends and helping them prioritize where to implement change. We help companies identify inefficiencies in the bills they're paying, such as overcharges or missed payments, really just to name a few. We also help analyze and review utility contracts, renegotiate them for our clients when the services don't meet the business needs, for example. Our solutions are based on consumption, cost, and carbon inventory data captured from really hundreds and thousands of companies, just like the ones we show on our screen. Our objective is to help companies see more, save more, and sustain more. You'll hear that on our tagline. And you know, I think any employer, such as these, or any household across the board, help people better see what's actually happening, and then build a plan around how do you save and how do you make that more of a sustainable environment. So that's a quick overview of Ecova. There's a lot to it. There's many other departments that we'll delve into in just a little bit that should give you a better mind of other positions. And I'm sure, as you know, I'm not an expert in other companies out there. I know that we're continually in a competitive space with employers in the green space, and these positions continually exist in one form or another and are only advancing. So again, all the more reason of being excited that you're here today. Ecova's career page, if you haven't had a chance to take a look, and you know, I'll apply my logic here that every employer will have some level of career page, and if they don't, I'm sure they'll get there. But career pages often exist on a company website. So where's the best place to find Ecova positions? Well, this would be that first starting point. I would recommend that you frequent or at least visit our career page and get a feel for what types of things we're offering on here. As most employers do, you know, we highlight active job openings for applicants to apply. Simply clicking on a job posting of choice, you can view the job description, you can identify where the position is located, or otherwise you can apply online and get the process started. Job board is in constant shuffle due to high volume growth. And I referenced some of the numbers that we've had in growth, and you know, every day is a new day. There's always some level of change that's happening, and likely as positions continue to fill, other ones continue to open, or departments continue to build out. And so every day is a new day. If you're going to take a look at the website, I have a few suggestions that I would recommend you do on our page, or otherwise other pages as well. You'll find, as I highlighted in yellow here, that we have a job notification section. It's a button that at the bottom of the career page, you click the button and it's going to help you identify with new jobs as they come available. Also, for many of our administrative positions with expense management, you'll see Spokane and Richardson really being those main locations, that we have ongoing opportunities that you can submit your interest for further consideration. One thing I didn't highlight is the previous slide. Current career openings, just below, there's also a click here button, and you can do the same thing. I mean, basically submitting your information for us to have it on file, making it easier for you to apply directly to the position, and otherwise for you to get regular notices of when jobs are being added to the board. So whether you're setting up an RSS feed, clicking the button at the bottom of a career page that says RSS, it's really a quick tab for you to have a hot link that takes you to the website, so you don't have to continually spend and burn all your time researching what you've already done. It's a one-stop shop and helps keep you involved or in the know. Taking a deeper delve, so these next two slides, I pull information off of our website directly. And pull as in I highlight some things that are positions that are currently and actively open. So I'm gonna gloss over this, but you can see administrative, finance, IT, senior leadership positions, a slew of different energy procurement and lease and telecom, waste, expense management. I mean, there's a position for everybody depending on your background. It's just a matter of timing. And while you take a look at these positions that are on here, one thing I highlight is that although something's called a project lead or a field coordinator, don't assume that all field coordinators are the same or all project leads are the same. Job titles are what they are. From one company to the next, they may not translate. Even internally, they may not translate, or they may differ. So while you're doing your search, if you see a job, you think it's in the wheelhouse of what you like, click the button, review the job description, and get a feel for what does the job do. Do they jump in and out of retailers, or are they jumping in and out of homes doing home audits? It may be called the same thing, but they do different things. So that's my one tip or pointer while you're looking at these jobs. So if we look at challenges getting in, challenges, how do you separate yourself from the rest, right? There's an active, competitive job market. So although companies such as ours date back roughly 20 years, the energy space remains a relatively small market with limited opportunities compared to the number of competitive candidates trying to get in. And how well prepared or experienced and educated you are can make or break you getting your foot in the door. And in the next section, I'm going to cover some of the helpful tips from for green job seekers or otherwise job seekers in general. So helpful tip number one, know your job search strategy. Don't just apply to apply for jobs. It's important you review and self-identify with the position before applying. Seeking employment is not as much about quantity as it is about quality. In short, it has to be the right fit. And I want to caution that, I'm not, however, encouraging that you put all your eggs in one basket. Keep searching for more positions that are the right fit. And my encouragement is what you should be really looking to do is to apply for positions which you do qualify. Carefully read the job posting, determine whether you could do most of the tasks required if you had to start today. When applying, be sure to specify exactly how you qualified in your email, cover letter, or resume objective. And if you have a match, apply now and give yourself the best chance to be seen or considered. The pieces from diversify your job search is really one of my main speaking points on this slide. And many employers continue to use major job boards. So online job boards, Career Builder, Monster, so should you. Set up an account, let the technology do the work for you. There's going to be a host of positions continually hitting the radar on those sites, and you can get a ticker, basically sign up for certain skills or experiences that you have and positions you want, and it'll forward the positions to you. They send regular announcements, so let the technology do the work for you. Network. Join user groups, network events, attend seminars, such as today. I mean, I applaud you for taking the opportunity here because you really hear and maybe refresh your mind on things that you should be doing. Not only are you going to gain key insights to the industry, but you also gain valuable relationships in the space as well. So remember, employers don't hire resumes, they hire people. So the more you can actually be a person opposed to a resume, the better chance you have of selling yourself. So really keep that in mind. I think that's something that could get lost in the shuffle of whether your resume hits the mark. A handshake goes a long way. Plus, you can put those engagements on your resume showing your passion and dedication for the industry. So I think that's a great selling point as well, especially since many opportunities out there are local to the market and are active job seekers like yourself. So you may gain some insights from the job seekers themselves as well. Classified ads, although maybe kind of died off in the recent years with technology, they still remain a supplemental option, especially if you're looking at labor positions or administrative roles. Certainly wouldn't shy away from it. Use it as another option to check the classifieds at least once a week and see what's in there. You never know what you'll stumble across. Recruiting agencies, never something to shy away from. If you're a job seeker, you're looking for employment, never hurts to have somebody out there looking for you as well. We often engage recruiting agencies when we have positions open, so we may find you through an agency and not have that direct contact. Not to say, continue to recruit or to job search and look on job sites, but don't sell yourself short of opportunity to be seen and considered, because that is definitely a fair option to use. Job fairs, college fairs, we're pretty active in that. To give you some perspective, this year alone, Ecova is anticipated to attend 64 networking events, 4 recruiting events, and 14 college events across the country. So really a total of 80 events we're going to be on the ground meeting candidates. And so one of the things as we follow up, I'll have Leonard forward to you here in this next week with a follow-up note, some of the events that we'll be at in the event that we happen to be in your area. Opportunities come in many forms. There's no one solution that I have to offer today that's going to be the solution without saying they're all a solution, and timing is going to be everything. And that's just kind of how the job market plays. Wanted to give you some slide, just where we post, give you an idea. From an Ecova standpoint, Monster, Career Builder, those are our main go-tos. We'll kind of start there and give ourselves a chance in a given market to hit to cast a net. Craigslist, GreenBiz, Energy Experts, ACEEE, state unemployment sites, ASP. Of course, Green Jobs, can't promote it enough. Definitely take a look at us there. We get great candidates from there, and that's why we're on this call today. Sustainable Business, Oregon Jobs, NEBC Jobs. We do a lot of college sites in the event that it makes sense, and then you can see on the right a slew of other green job boards. This is just a quick capture. We're pretty strategic, so we use what we need to and cast our net as far as we can to get the right talent in the door. Another helpful tip is homework and self-assessment, and I've touched on a lot of this already. So I'm going to brush over this slide a little bit, but I mean the mind of this is know where you stand, know where your motivations are. It's a competitive field, so really have a general idea at least of a target that you're trying to hit. It'll help you keep your experience factual and relevant. It'll help you know what you're after, why this company, why that position that you're applying for. The more you can hone in on the specific of the role or the company and the mission will certainly help you in your search. Know the industry. Do some Google searches. Talk about it at the networking events. The more you can get your mind around why you want in or why you belong in that world of green jobs will be a huge helping hand for yourself. Something as far as on resumes, one of the key things, or job descriptions, excuse me, while you're doing your job search and you're looking at job descriptions, one of the key things that you could do for yourself is pull out experience, education that they're looking for, but create buckets or pools of types of jobs that interest you while you're doing your search. Don't let them just go in one ear and out the other while you apply. Capture them from one employer to the next. Put them into buckets of types of roles that you're looking for. Pull out the certifications that you have, that you don't have, that they prefer, that they require, and identify where can you self-help yourself, right? So while you're looking at the jobs, and you may have a hard time applying because you have transferable skill that's maybe not direct, what are the things that you can begin checking off your list that you can do on the side to help continue to further and advance within the market and show that initiative? Those types of things are really homework and self-assessment. Where do you stand? What do you need? What do you know? Number 3 is really stay the course. stay the course. Timing is really everything. It almost always is. It's just keeping social network, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, however you're connected in the social world, that you keep them professional. Not that we take a look at, say, Facebook, but you may find that some people do, and otherwise your LinkedIn. Know that that's lined up and that you have a LinkedIn account that represents you. It has your resume or up-to-date information. It highlights your motivation. Continue to solicit and get some folks to endorse you for skills. Those are types of things that someone may not even find you. An employer may not find you through your application. They may find you through doing a LinkedIn search and identifying your skill or your job titles and your background actually aligned with what they're looking for, and so they reach you directly. The more you can put yourself out there, it's all about channels. So as many channels as you have on, the more noise you're going to get. Something else I highlighted in social media, and it kind of ties into this. It's often a challenge when you call a candidate on their phone and their phone may have inappropriate music or it's not really well set up. I mean, at that point, you're marketing yourself. So consider your cell phone, your personal or your business cell phone at that point. If someone's calling you, they want to get a first touch. It's a first impression that they're going to have of you. Wrong or right, it is a first impression. And while they call, just be mindful of what you have on your phone and how you may answer your phone. It's been surprising how many times you may call and you get something on the other line that is not what you were expecting, and it just sets the wrong first impression. So if you're actively on the market and someone's calling you, be ready for it. Frequently visit, or I guess even going back, same thing with while you're applying. Just be mindful of what your email address is. If your email is appropriate. If you're applying for jobs, we see the email, and a manager or otherwise a recruiter may be turned off by the lack of professional by an email address. So, nitpick things, but certainly things that they do play a factor in the level of professionalism that you're projecting. Frequently visit job boards and company career pages. Set a schedule. Create an RSS feed like we talked about. That's a big part of it. Let the technology do the work, and put in your time as you've scheduled out your week, you scheduled your calendar month. I read a few articles the other day, and it was talking about all the different channels that I talked about turning on, and then those that I didn't even touch on. You can only do so much, so there is a burnout factor. Be careful of how many avenues you're pulling yourself in. The more target focus you can have on a given area is going to be more fruitful. It's not going to be as scattered. So, pace yourself while you're working through job boards and career pages, and don't overdo it, because that can become detrimental to just your own psyche and how your energy stays up. And that's my next point, is just stay positive. Positive thinking can lead to positive results. Positive thinking is, that's life. The more positive you can stay, surround yourself with positivity, good things will happen. And I share examples here. Just, I don't know how many times I've worked with even internal employees, but external too, or candidates that are applying for a position, and they go through this rigorous interview process and get discouraged by the fact that maybe they're not selected. The hiring team moves forward with somebody else, and you just really got to be mindful about where you're drawing your line. We all have a different threshold of where we're trying to get to, and we have different expectations. And so if you are just really mindful of where you draw the line for yourself, that you don't sell yourself short, that the next opportunity might be tomorrow. It might be today. It was just last week. I literally had to tell a candidate that a position had actually closed. We had some challenges with the funding for the role, so we elected to pull the position, and it was a discouragement, but he was so positive and so appreciative for the process. And when we revisited after the holiday, we found some money to fund the position, and we called him back, and it was literally within the week that I was able to deliver an offer to him, and his positive energy was so much of that. I have every belief in that. It projected well to me. It projected well to the manager, and having gone through the process that he had gone through, it could have fallen into a negative perspective. And the power of positive mind is so important, and that was a telling sign. I can go on an example for those types of things. So network, right? One of the webinars that Leonard had available on his site I was watching the other day, it talks about luck. You know, you're so lucky you found the right job, and he has just this great slide deck of how luck really, or opportunity really, comes in the form of many hands, right? More opportunities. So the more people you meet, the more channels you have on, and the more activity that you have, you're going to get luck. Luck will come with that. So luck often comes in numbers and opportunities and chances you give yourself. So networking, a handshake, a conversation in person can lead a long, long way. So don't sell yourself short of going out into the community, even if it's once a week, once a month, of putting yourself out there. Green drinks, you know, that's something, if you're in any of the markets that we operate, green drinks is something that we frequent and have representatives there, and I know others do as well. And again, I mean, there's a number of different opportunities. Even if you just do a quick Google search of what's happening in your area, you'll continue to identify spots that you could go. Helpful job seeker tip number 4, and really kind of my final tip, so to speak, would just be, you know, 2 things that get forgotten, right? I mean, these are basic things. An old school 1880 phone or whatever this was built in, and a hand card, or otherwise an email. Follow-up, reminders. You know, follow-up phone call to the recruiter is, if you haven't heard back, is perfectly fine. You know, it's knowing where you stand in a process. If you're unclear, gaining that insight will put ease to your own mind and give you some mind of where you stand in the process. It'll help you match up what you also have going on in your own world with other opportunities too. It's hard when you're pursuing a position and you put all your eggs in that basket and it doesn't come to fruition, and it takes longer than it should have, and now you're behind the 8 ball looking for other positions. So you know, follow-up phone call, knowing where you stand, will really help your own psyche and your own energy. It's perfectly fine to inquire about your status. Thank you letters, you know, to hiring manager and or interview panels. You know, whether or not to send a thank you card or email, it's the thought that counts. And I know you've heard that before. You know, take the initiative to stand out. Really embrace the opportunity to say thank you. It's something that, surprisingly, a lot of people forget. And you know, it's not the weight or end all be all, but it definitely keeps a good impression on deck for you. So my encouragement is to really take those 2 things at heart, and be sure to do yourself a favor and utilize that tip. You know, what are the managers saying? So over the last few days, I've reached out to some of our hiring teams and just got a feel for, you know, what are you looking for? If I ask you in a bullet or 2, what is it that you're looking for when you're out there recruiting? What is it? What are you hiring? So direct experience and relevant knowledge and transferable skill, otherwise kind of knowledge, skills, abilities, KSAs, right? So a hiring manager has a need. The need has to be filled in a way that meets the requirement for the job. And so if you have direct experience to the job, that's a good thing. If you have relevant knowledge that applies to the job, great. If you have transferable skill that applies to the job, it puts you in it gives you that opportunity to be seen and considered. Progressive career path and engagement in the industry. You know, as you do your networking events, those are things that can go on there. Certifications, trainings, you know, something that's progressing towards the bucket list that you created off the job descriptions of things that you don't have or need refreshing. Proven ability to operate well in fast-paced or ever-changing environment. I know in our environment, and really the 3 other companies that I've worked at as well over the course of my career, fast-paced, energetic, making moves, hiring, growing, acquiring, and it's a busy environment. So it's not for everybody. And so know or research to know what environment you operate best and what environment they offer. And in our environment, I would say that the fast pace and really being able to work in an ambiguous environment, being able to come up with solutions of your own and being empowered to make your own decisions. That's a lot of what our managers are looking for. And education, certification, training. You know, as mentioned, I mean, my certified energy manager certification, DPI certification, project management certification. Those types of things might be more for a specialized role. You know, there's on and on. There's so many different types of certifications. So off your bucket list, figure out where that might actually apply for you. And then positive energy and a can-do attitude. They're looking for that. You know, someone who's coming in with a chip on their shoulder from their past employer, or coming in with bad experience in the environment and projecting that in your first meeting during an interview or even in a cover letter, it's just a that's a no-no. You know, be mindful of your positive energy and your can-do attitude, and really project what you feel inside. You know, they're looking for help no matter what title the position is for hiring. You know, help. I need help in something. We're all growing and working at a pace that when you have an opportunity to add someone to your team, you're looking for help. So if you come in with that helping hand, you may have something on a job description, but be willing and able to venture outside of that and provide opportunity to grow your own skills as well. And really lastly, before we move into a Q&A, and I know we've got about 15 minutes left, so we've still left some time here. You know, the manager wants you to be the one. And I put this slide out there because, you know, if you are that fortunate one to have an interview and you're sitting down before the manager, have that self-confidence that however you've identified the transferable skill, you've identified the education or the experience, that you're walking in there and you've gained that opportunity for interview, you've gained it for a reason. And you and or others, you may have some competing candidates interviewing for that same role. That manager wants you to be the one. They don't want to have to continue to keep going back to the well and looking for candidates. So if you walk in with that, just that level of confidence that you're there for a reason, will really help better position you with your mindset as you approach it. Nerves and all those things aside, they want you to be the one. You want to be the one. Go in there with that confidence, and that will help ease to know that you belong there. And that's really it. You know, I could have gone a lot of different directions, and I know that there's, I'm sure, a series of questions here that that we want to spend the next, 10 minutes at least, 15 minutes, and address. Before I dig into some of the questions that you have posed, I think a thing I do want to note as well, Leonard has been gracious to partner with me. Over the next week, we're going to send you out a follow-up. It'll include the slide decks that I've shared, and a few other helpful pieces that I've explained. And so you'll get a follow-up to a lot of the content that we've discussed here. If there's questions I don't get to, we'll include that in there, and I'll give a flavor of an answer that should hopefully help clarify or answer the question as best as I can. Okay. So if I move down the list here, and be mindful, I'm sure I'm probably going to hit some of these questions where I might not have that level of knowledge or experience with the business to really hit it nail on the head. So if I feel like I'm dancing around it, I'm sure I'll come back to it in my follow-up. Do you think an architectural or structural engineer could find a place at Ecova? Really interested in the waste part. Is being motivated about this enough to overcome the lack of experience in this area? Well, to have that level of background, I think, yeah, absolutely. I mean, engineers, that's what we do. We have a lot of engineers of all kinds within the business. How it particularly fits within the waste would need to be a fit to a given role, of course, and what kind of need they have. I would say, knowing that you have an interest in waste, the first thing you really should look to do is identify what waste positions exist or are open on the web. Start logging what those positions look like, and track how do you fit the needs of the positions. If you're looking at a position that is at a level that you don't qualify, maybe it's too high level, or you can tell it's entry level and it's not a level that you'd be willing or interested in applying to, still capture it. Recognize that there's other positions attached to it. So that's the starting block. Identify what that department even does. I'm assuming you may have had an opportunity to go to the website and actually review the waste section and get a feel for the types of work that they're doing. Other things that might come in play, just not knowing your particular case, location may come in play. Some of our positions are required to be in specific locations given the function and department they work for. So that might be something that would be considered as well. But this is a question I'll work back to in my follow-up and more clearly articulate, given the background that you have, how or where that might fit within the department, if at all. Okay. Good question. Do you provide assistance on employment visas for foreigners, and what is the probability of getting a job at Ecova while being abroad? So currently, right now, unfortunately, we do not. We're not at a state where we have that opportunity. Working abroad, I think as the company continues to grow, we'll start seeing more of an opportunity there. But right now, it's just not something we're really operating much in the U.S. And I think we may have a few employees in Canada as well, if I remember correctly. Good question. And what is the most compelling way to showcase transferable skills in a cover letter or resume? So it's always going to be relevant to the job. Transferable skills might be a good example. Myself, I don't come from the energy space. I spent 8 years in childcare industry, spent a few years in the pet care industry, and yet I had transferable skills as a recruiter to apply in a business such as energy space. And the opportunity I took myself was to highlight the ability that I had to go from one industry to another already, recognizing that I don't have energy space, but I've had the ability and I've shown that ability to translate or to transfer my knowledge from one industry to the next successfully. So if you have had exposure jumping from one to another, maybe it's in a call center environment and you've worked for, say, a collections agency and you've done call center, and you need to apply that into enrollment in home energy audits, then apply what you do or how you did it to the environment. So how many people worked at the environment, what type of structure of management were you accustomed to, was it matrix or was it hardline, and then the direct hard skills that you match in the job, so making cold calls or handling conflict on the phone, those types of things. So you really just want to capture how does that transferable skill translate and articulate the best you can from your past environment. So something we learn in behavior interviews is past experience often reflects future performance. And if you really look at the ability to be promoted, or you look at the ability to perform in a function in multiple industries, that's where you highlight that in your cover letter, or even in your resume. Hopefully that answers your question there. What is the best way to convey positive energy and can-do attitude without sounding like everyone else who wants the same job? So, that's a hard one. What's the best way to do it? I mean, I think the best way is the natural way. I mean, use your own natural passions and just let your own personality be itself. There's always that teetering point, which of your own. What's too much? I mean, what's too overbearing? What's too excitable? What's too much? Too green? I'm all about green. It's like working in pet care and saying I love pets. Well, hopefully you do. In this environment, really applying can-do attitude and positive energy often is going to reflect in past behavior and past experience. So if you can highlight areas of where maybe you've gained additional assignments at the workplace, maybe you've been on a part of committees, or you have references that can provide written recommendation of your abilities that they're helping highlight that from their own vantage point. We can all say we're good at something. We can all say we love energy and we love doing that, but it's often nice to have others do that for you. Maybe on your LinkedIn you have folks that have spoken to that and can give some extra weight there. But at the end of the day, I think it's just really natural and just be who you are and don't try to be somebody that you're not in that instance. hopefully those are at least a few helpful ideas of what you could do there. Definitely a good question, though. Do you recommend trying to connect with a current employee via LinkedIn as opposed to directly applying to a position on the website? Current job search environment seems to promote this. Thank you. So, yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, again, networking, right? So LinkedIn is such a beautiful tool in that it helps you link up with people at a company. So when you apply to a position, it may be a really competitive position. It may be 150 candidates in that pool. How do you stand out? How do you get seen? I mean, I've heard tips like, in fact, I'm looking at it right now. I've got a fax on my desk right now. You could fax your resume in, and that's a hard copy that actually gets delivered. That's an option. Otherwise, LinkedIn, you can quickly search companies, identify do you have friends at that company that can at least be sure that your resume has been seen and considered. Otherwise, maybe give a recommendation if it's appropriate. If you don't know somebody at the company and you otherwise have someone on LinkedIn that is connected to somebody at that company and you feel it's appropriate, you can use that channel to generate attention on your resume. You know, there's always that approach. And I think sometimes people take the approach of, I'm going to reach the CEO because knowing that if it goes to the CEO, it's going to go somewhere. I don't know. I mean, you use your own judgment of what's appropriate and how are you seen. You know, recruiters and hiring managers are doing all they can to work through resumes and really match and stack up candidates to present to hiring teams and make the best decision possible. So, you know, there's no one way to do that, but LinkedIn is definitely an option. What would you recommend for undergraduates who want to enter the energy industry? Are there opportunities at Ecova for internships? We do offer internships. We've had a pretty successful rate of having interns convert even to full-time employees. We're still continuing to develop in that area. It's not an area that has been highly utilized at this point. We do see a handful of internships pop open as the summer draws close. Usually kind of that March window is when we start seeing them hit the radar. I know, you know, our talent acquisition team has been actively having conversations with our senior leadership group to incorporate the mindset of internships into the budget season so that internships become more of an active part of what we're offering. We've seen great success with it, and I would envision that we will continue to see more opportunities come open here in the future as we develop and grow. It is a pretty slim opportunity. I mean, we have, you know, upward to 5, maybe 10 at most in a given year, I think is about what we might see happen. And they fall in selected parts of the business. So you might have a few fall in HR, you might have a few fall in IT or otherwise in waste. And so it's going to have to fall in the area of specialty. So my encouragement would be to, one, just keep an eye on the website, set up that tracker so when that does hit the radar, you're in the know. And be mindful that it's really that springtime that is when those hit the radar, because that's when we're recruiting on them. Good question. So I'll take this last one. I know we've got 2 minutes left here, and be mindful of your guys' time. You know, do you feel that a professional educator with 15 years of experience could find a place at Ecova? So a professional educator, I mean, it could, not knowing what areas of specialty you might have educated in, I mean, education is really coaching, training, teaching, engaging with others, and being able to deliver a message. So I think that there's definitely a spot. You know, I would say we have a very small training section right now that will, I'm sure, continue to grow as we grow. So there's always that opportunity within a training function, but otherwise it's transferable skill that otherwise would have you jumping in and out of stores, educating store personnel on efficiency programs and educating customers on types of programs that we offer. That would be a type of environment that I could see that level of background applying. But again, not knowing the level of experience or education that you have, the types of technical expertise that you know, it could apply in other areas. So it's definitely a transferable skill, though, being able to connect and educate others. And you know, I think as I know we're right at our hour. I'm gonna pass the microphone back to Leonard, and before doing so, just want to thank all of you, those of you that have been able to stick around and hang on to the call. Hopefully, this information was beneficial for you. Just really welcome you to visit the Ecova website and get a good feel for the positions we have open, and just wish you all the best in everything that you're doing with your time out there, and hopefully that this shed a light on a direction that you may be going. So thank you very much for your time.
Great. Adam, you can hear me all right?
I can, yes.
Great. So, yeah, so we're at the top of the hour. So, again, obviously, want to just echo what Adam said, which is obviously thanking you for taking your time out today to participate. And I can tell you, I was listening to Adam's presentation, and I found it very informative. There's even a couple of notes I was making for myself in terms of job search strategies. And I thought it was great in terms of being able to give a lot of practical tips for folks. I mean, that's very consistent with terms of the mission of Green Jobs Network. So I thought your presentation was excellent and able to get through a bunch of questions. I know there's a few more, and we're going to do our best to do a follow-up with some more answers. And so it's kind of hard in a digital environment to kind of give kind of applause to a presenter, but I will do it on behalf of the participants and just say again, thank you to Adam, obviously, and the folks at Ecova for again for taking the time and really sharing this, because this information is really, it's invaluable for folks who are looking. And as everyone who's on this call knows, it's the economy is still relatively tough. It's a competitive marketplace, and so to be able to have again someone like Adam, share their time, share their expertise. With job seekers and folks interested in this field and using their careers to make a difference is really great. So again, just want to thank everybody for your time and attention today. And with that, we'll call it a wrap. So thanks, and we'll be sending out some follow-up. So look for that.